I asked Jonah a question right in front of the White House when we did the interview. This is when she told me about, she was the chief disguise officer of the CIA.
She's a giant, by the way, at the CIA.
She is a giant.
Everybody loves and respects her.
Really?
Yeah.
So she's somebody that's admired.
She's the real deal,
okay.
yeah.
Yeah, and she's the one that held the mask in front of President Bush and, hey, this is not really me. Look what we have. We have capabilities of building.
Yes.
I asked her, what is the profile of a great, successful CIA agent? Okay, and she gave me her criterias. What would you say? What makes, because you hear about what types of people they recruit, and you said earlier, I applied to work at CIA, and then you change it, you're like, I was recruited, right? Because you get recruited to the CIA.
Yeah, my grad school advisor recruited me.
Great. But what would you say are the top qualities that help you have a successful 20, 30-year career at the CIA?
Yeah, I could give you four.
Especially somebody like you that's going to 70. Now, not the ones that work at the office.
Right.
The guys on the road is what I'm talking about, like you.
Yeah, the guys in the field.
Yes.
A CIA psychiatrist once told me what's probably the most important attribute. You have to have what they call sociopathic tendencies, not a sociopath, because sociopaths don't have a conscience. And you can't control them. And they blow right through the polygraph because they don't feel guilt. Okay, you want to hire somebody who feels guilt but is happy to break the law because we're the good guys, right? And I'll give you an example if we have a minute. When I was going through the hiring process, I was with four other people, 3 guys and a woman. And the interviewer said, let's say you are a CIA officer in the field. And you get a cable from headquarters and they say, we need for you to get the new classified Indonesian economic figures. And then you go out and target the Indonesian economic secretary. Okay. So you take him to lunch, you take him to dinner, you hit it off, your wives become friends, you go on weekend vacations together, your kids are playing together. 6 months pass, you realize he's not recruitable. But headquarters says, hey, we need those figures. What do? One guy raises his hand. He says, you double down, you spend more money. The woman says, maybe you can run it through the wives. Maybe the wives get even closer. Mm-hmm. And I'm looking around like, what? So I raised my hand. I said, you break into the Indonesian embassy and you steal it. He says, that's exactly what you do. That's a sociopathic tendency. A normal person wouldn't say, I need something that Patrick has. I think I'm going to break into his house and steal it. Normal people don't do that. But remember, we're the good guys. So, sociopathic tendencies, an ability to work alone without having to be motivated by an outside factor. I loved that job so much. I hated to leave at the end of the day. And then I couldn't wait to get back in the morning to see what I had missed from overnight. You have to be able to work for much of your career without any rewards, right? You catch Abu Zubaydah. You can't then call your friends and say, hey, I caught Abu Zubaydah. Or call your hometown radio station. I caught Abu Zubaydah. You can't tell anybody what you did. My first wife was a ballet teacher. And I would get home and she'd say, how was work? I'd say, great. What'd you do? Nothing. Who'd you talk to? Nobody. And then my phone would ring at midnight and I would speak in Arabic and then I would leave to do a meeting in the middle of the night after a 2-hour surveillance detection route to the meeting and a 2-hour surveillance detection route from the meeting, get back home at 6 o'clock in the morning. And then she says, so what was her name? And I'm like, no, I was working. In the middle of the night. Have a good time? Well, I mean, what are you going to do? I can't tell her I was, at some clandestine meeting with the ambassador.
She didn't know she was a CIA officer.
She knew I was CIA, but that was literally all that she knew. She had no idea what I did for a living.
So number one is sociopathic tendencies, but not a sociopath. You have to understand to make a decision without feeling guilty.
Yeah.
Number two is a level of work that you came in without any outside motivations to get you to go to work.
Yeah.
Like you sincerely love the game.
And they give you an assignment and they say, do it. And that's it. Nobody's going to call and say, hey, can I help in any way, make this easier for you? Do it. I got a cable. Patrick, they said, Abu Zubaydah's somewhere in Pakistan. Go catch him. Like, go catch him. This country's the size of Texas, and it has 220 million people. What do you mean, go catch him? But by God, I set out to catch him, and I did.
Pretty wild when you think about what the one thing that she said is similar to what you said. She says, when you do save the free world from the next World War III, and you're watching TV, and you know they're reporting, and you know that you're the one that did that, you don't need the recognition.
No. You know, the day I got back from Pakistan, there was this kid in the office. He was an intern, a graduate fellow, and he had been reading the cables from Pakistan. So I walk in, and I've been gone for 6-7 months. I walk in, and he sees me, and he goes like this. And I said, no. It was a team effort. And he said, dude, I read the cables. I said, don't say a word, because not everybody here in the office is cleared for what happened. So
That's
no,
wild.
you got to just eat it.
That's wild. But to me, a few good men, code red. You want the truth? I deserve it. You can't handle the truth.
That's right.
And he gives that whole speech, right?
Yeah.
I gotta say that if I got a job at the CIA, it's almost naive to believe there isn't code red type of tendencies, right? Because you have the what? You have the official budget for the CIA that we all know about.
Right.
Then you have the official black budget, that operations that not everybody will know about. And then you have the unofficial black budget. So there's 3 different tiers. So you have to know that if you're in this game, listen, we do certain things that the average person is just never going to understand. So don't act like we have to do this and we have to do that. Don't be naive, John. This is what we do. You know what you signed up for. I would assume that's a norm, isn't it?
Now, yes. But remember, at the time of the 9/11 attacks, Executive Order 12333 was the law of the land. The CIA cannot murder people. President Ford signed that executive order. It had the force of law.
It would have signed, but that means nothing, though.
Oh, no, but you'd be surprised. I had a friend, Bob Baer. Bob Baer's pretty famous former CIA officer. He's written many books. One of his books became the film Syriana with George Clooney. He was serving in Iraq and came up with a plot to kill Saddam Hussein, and they threatened to arrest him for attempted murder. He had to resign from the CIA. You're in violation of executive order.
The moment it became public?
No. NSA heard somebody talking about the CIA guy is going to come up with a plan.
It became public. That's a form of becoming public.
It became public.
But to me, that's like him being sloppy. To me, you know.
No. What it was he was working with a group of Kurds, and the Kurds are on the phone saying, hey, so how do we do this? We're going to figure out a plan. And NSA called the White House and said, hey, one of your guys is out there trying to come up with a plan to kill Saddam Hussein. And they said, you can either resign or you can be prosecuted for attempted murder.
He resigned.
He resigned. It was a ridiculous slap.
Interesting. Okay. Well,
but anyway, on September 12th, all that changed.
Yeah.
Hi, everybody. I'm John Kiriakou, former CIA officer. Please find me on Minect. We have a lot to talk about. CIA, FBI, DOD, torture, secret prisons, international renditions. Maybe you or your child want to apply for a job at the CIA and are looking for some tips. Let me know. There's a lot we can talk about. You pick the subject, we'll make it happen. Again, it's on Minect. Thanks, and I'll see you soon.
If you enjoyed this video, you want to watch more videos like this, click here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click here.